Hey, y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood. And I just never know if I'm doing that right or not. I hope it all comes across like it's supposed to, but I'm like, this now? Which one? Okay. Hopefully that worked. Hope everybody's doing okay today. It looks like we got smaller numbers than usual, but that's okay because it's going to pick up as we chime along. And I'm going to just see who all's here and say hello to everybody. This is Saturday Night Live with Hobo. While some of you, which I see a lot of you here from North America time zones, it's not Saturday night, but it is for our viewers that are across the pond. And that's why I'm doing this 3 p.m. Eastern time slot so that the guys and gals can tune in over there at a reasonable hour and catch the live and interact live. I think the average time now about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night for a lot of the viewers. So hopefully this is going to work out. So a lot of familiar faces here. I hope everybody's had a good week. And I'm going to try and keep this live to 90 minutes. In fact, I won't set a timer because, and I've even got an outline ready so that I can try and stay on topic and not let the squirrels get the better of me. Let's see, an hour and a half. But we'll go a little longer if we have to, but no more of those marathons. No more. All right, so let's pull up my notes here. So I do have a really big announcement, for having to do with the 2-year anniversary. I'm going to be revealing my first Easter design in a few minutes. And that will be something that I'll be doing a design video on this week. And I'm also working on, how many of you struggle with bamboo? If you don't have your hand up, you're telling a lie. I've been playing with bamboo, trying to prevent those uneven lines from showing up in bamboo. And I've been playing with different settings and getting different outcomes with different powers, and not just power and speeds, but power, speeds, focal points, line intervals, all kinds of things. And I'm hoping that I'm going to learn a lot more than I already know and be able to share that with you this week as well, or this coming week. So that's on the itinerary. A couple of real quick housekeeping things. On the website, hobowithwood.com. I've had a few people who are like, man, I don't want to give all this information out. If I just want to get a simple file, I don't feel like I have to give my date of birth, my home phone number, my child's middle name. You don't have to give all that. If you don't want to put any information in there you don't want to share, put in there you're at 123 Main Street in Disneyland. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you should input your correct email address. If you use a fake email address, even if it's one that you remember and you can use to log into your account, the problem with using an incorrect email address is whenever I update files. If I have now got the option where I can send people who have purchased a file before, I can send you the updated file. And I did that with one of the files from last week, but over half of them came back because people either input their emails wrong or they just put in a fake email. So if you want to be able to get those emails and updates, you want to put in your right email. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. You've got other choices and other things you can be doing with either your Saturday night or your Saturday afternoon. So thank you all for being here. We had a little bit of a speed bump, but things are going well now. Things are going to be good. And I had a moment of reflection this week a friend or an acquaintance he just celebrated an anniversary this past week or so, and it's not an anniversary that you celebrate or look forward to, but it was the first anniversary of his wife's passing, and he sends out regular emails and for people who are following and staying in touch with him, and he sent out an email this week that kind of registered a little bit with me, and I just want to share one little thing with you guys, two paragraphs. And because somebody out there might need to hear this right now, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with lasering. But he wrote, in the face of challenges and uncertainties, it is important to recognize the power that lies within you. You possess a strength that goes beyond what you may realize. You're stronger, faster, and more resilient than you think. Believe it, embrace it, and let it guide you through any obstacles that come your way. And this was the clincher. Remember, there's nothing more healing than the assurance of someone else's belief in your capabilities. And over the past week or so, I've gotten a lot of support from my viewers and subscribers. And I want to say, anybody who's reached out and sent emails or notes or whatever, thank you. Thank you for your continued support and your belief in Hobo with Wood. And 2024 is going to be an exciting year. For the patrons that are out there watching right now, you've probably already noticed. In fact, I got an email a little while ago that said, man, you must be going 24/7 now. I said, yeah, well, this is my job, and I'm working for my patrons. I had a patron reach out to me last night and said, hey, you got an idea? And for doing something like this? And that's where the Easter project I'm going to show you in a second came from. It spawned last night while I was watching reruns of Shark Tank. So, and I'm going to briefly touch on the video for the kerf test where I showed how to do the 45-degree scan angle, because people are still, even after mentioning it once and that in depth, there's still a few people that just aren't quite catching the concept on it. And I've got a very short demo. We're going to move right past it really quick. The reason I did that was so that you could understand how to get a uniform kerf. A diode laser has a rectangular beam, and it's moving only on X and Y. And when it moves X and Y, you're going to have a kerf that matches that rectangular shape of that beam. But when it moves on an angle, now you're going to get a uniform kerf. And if you have your design laid out correctly, then as it's trying to cut that straight line, it can only move on 45s. And this is really mainly when you're doing boxes. And that's when you really benefit the most from having a truly uniform kerf. When you start doing, designs and graphics, then it really is not going to benefit you that well or at all by having it scanning on a 45. But instead of just cutting, when you are doing a engraving of a graphic, if you're able to determine which one of those is your smallest spot size, your spot size being rectangular, if you run it on a 45-degree angle, it might actually be overall smaller. So you might actually engrave at a 45-degree angle. So let's jump in here to Lightburn real quick. And let's see here, this and switch. So this is from Rolly Automation's website, and it shows their spot sizes for each of their modules, the 10 watt, the 20 watt, and the 30 watt. This is in 10 watt mode. Obviously, since this is a 10 watt, this is the only spot size it is. This is 20 watt, 10 watt, 30 watt, and 10 watt. Now, I took and I created a representation of each of those in actual size. Do you see them? We'll zoom in real tight. So this is a rectangle that has each one of those spot sizes on it. And if you were going to cut it out on either a 0-degree scan angle or a 90-degree scan angle, this 10 watt diode is going to have this really narrow kerf whenever it's cutting on the X. But then when it goes to cut down the Y, it's twice or over 2.5 times the size it is on the X. Same thing here. Now this one is really, really wide on the X, but it's super narrow on the Y, because it can only move X and Y. And these are actual representations of the spot size of each of those, and they're labeled accordingly. Now, the same exact spot sizes. This is where people weren't understanding what I was talking about. These are the exact same spot sizes. There's nothing different about it, except now I've got it scanning on a 45-degree angle, and I've drawn a circle around each of these because that is what the actual cut path would be. And now as you grab this 10 watt and you start moving it down that path, it's a 0.153 height and width. You move it up here, it's still a 153. It never changes. That gives you a uniform kerf with any diode laser. What size it's going to be is going to be dependent on your laser and your laser module, but that's how and why you have a benefit of doing these on a 45. And again, it really comes into play big time when you're doing boxes, but you can get that really uniform and potentially smaller spot size even when you're doing engraving, if you engrave at a 45-degree angle. Okay, enough of that. You should always remember, there is no one way to do something in Lightburn. And someone's recommendation about this is the best way might not be the best way for you. Your brain might not wrap around their line of thinking. That's why I've talked about this particular thing 3 different times now, because people were still not following and understanding it because they didn't grasp how I demonstrated it. So there's not any one way to do something. And if you need to get from A to C and you get there ABC, or you get there from A to C, you got to the same destination. You're just able to eliminate a step in the middle, but you got there and nothing, and it got the same result. It doesn't matter. So, always more than one way to do things. I'm demonstrating to you what I've learned and what I have found to work for me. May not be your way, you may not agree with it, but it works, or else I wouldn't be trying to show it and help people understand what's going on. Now, big announcement, because we're now up to about 85 people watching. We're not quite at the 100 mark yet, but the big announcement is my 2-year anniversary is coming up in June 15th. And it's really not June 15th because it was Father's Day 2 years ago. And I guess what Father's Day changes every year. It's 3rd Sunday in June or something. I don't know. It's kind of like Thanksgiving. So I'm just sticking with Father's Day weekend. But June 15th this year will be when I celebrate my 2-year anniversary as Hobo with Wood. And I'm hoping, and we're on track to be at 10,000 subscribers before that anniversary date. And that's the goal. So if you're not a subscriber and you're watching, and over half of the people viewing my channel are not subscribed, I see that in the analytics. That's why I ask you guys to share a 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime you learn something, Google grabs all this information and they share it all with me. So over half of you watching aren't subscribed, and you're returning viewers and aren't subscribed. So help me out with the analytics again, and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any live streams. But the big thing, and I mentioned it in the last live stream, I'm going to continue to mention it from here on out. June 15th at 3 p.m. It'll be a 3 p.m. An afternoon for me, evening for those in the UK. I will be giving away a laser. There are no requirements on how many viewers or how many likes or anything like that. Somebody in that live stream, and it's not going to be limited to the lower 48 states. Somebody in that live stream is going to win a laser, and not my laser, a brand new laser. And it's going to be a Rolly automation laser. Don't know which one yet, because between now and then, don't know what might either be out there or available, something new, something, I don't know. But June 15th, 3 p.m. Eastern, somebody will be taking home or winning a brand new laser. I will coordinate that now. I've asked, or I've had my patrons ask me, say, hey, can you make sure that all of the golden patrons are entered into that? Well, I would like to be able to do that, but I don't know how to do that. Number one. And two, it is about getting the viewership up there. You're a patron, I hope, because you want to support the channel and you're getting tons of free files and good information. I'm giving you what, 3 months, 2 months, 3 months advance notice. I'm telling you the time, the date. All you got to do is be there, and somebody's going to win a brand new laser. Now, the first Easter design that I spit this out last night. One of my patrons contacted me and said, hey, I would like to have something that didn't have a whole lot of waste. I don't want to, they love the multi-layer crosses, but they just, man, those 5 and 6 layer crosses, you generate a lot of waste. And I'm needing to make like, 70 or 80 of these. And I don't want to have 700 pieces of wood to make one. And I said, all right, let me see what I can do. So this design is cut from one single piece of 12 by 12, 300 by 300 material. And it is a 3-layer cross. And it is, he is risen. And it's got there on the bottom, he is not here, for he is risen. Now you can change that scripture, change that, take it on, edit it, take it off, whatever. But the dove is a multi-layer dove there. You can see it's sitting up on top of the cross. And then the crown of thorns is wrapped around the second, or the top layer cross, but not the back. You can paint it up, do it however you want. But this is going to be the design I'm going to be showing and featuring in the design video this coming week. And this one is my religious Easter design. I'm going to be working on a commercial Easter design as well. But that's that. Now, the file that we're going to look at today in Lightburn and how I created it, and it will be free for everybody watching, is a better, more advanced layer. Get it? There we go. This is my lucky day, and this one is the backboard's 1 layer, 2, 3 layers. But it's really simple, and there's a lot of tricks that I've got in Lightburn on how I get all of this placement just right. How do you get those, the spacing right? Because these are individual letters that have been cut out and then glued to the face. How do you get the spacing right? How do you get all that right? But we're going to create that real quick, like in Lightburn, and then this file will be free for those that are tuned in and watching. And someone asked me about, so, hey, if it's supposed to be lucky, shouldn't it be a 4-leaf clover and not a 3-leaf clover? Well, the design you have to download is going to have the option of either the 3-leaf or a 4-leaf clover. And you can personalize it or leave that blank. And the download obviously doesn't have my name in it. The download will be blank, and I'm going to show you in here how to set that up. So let's look at the comments real quick before we jump into Lightburn. I'm kind of curious how many people are here from across the pond. Hello, Emma. Emma's here. We got, and I think we've seen yet Terry from New Zealand. Emma, UK. Because I'm really trying to, Great Britain. There we go. Trying to accommodate as many of the viewers as possible. From all around the world, not everybody having to watch these on reruns. And hello to everyone watching. And here Mark's saying it's sunny in Roseville, California. I don't know where Roseville's at, but I think in California, any sunshine right now would be welcome. I understand you guys have been getting just flooded out everywhere. Hello to every single body. Hello, Carl. And I don't know if Jersey's where fun comes to die. I think North Carolina will give you a real good run for that one. Let's see here. And I'm going to, hey, there's no need to apologize to me. There are, when it comes to, that's why this is my job. Tim's been hitting me up with a few questions on different things via email. And if I didn't want to be doing it, I wouldn't be here right now. Hey, we got, does I see Jack? Yep. Hey, Jack's in the shop. Hey, Jack. I missed you last time. Somebody said you had a huge order to get out and you were probably sleeping it off. So hope you recovered. Here's a question. I tried the 45-degree curve test and it didn't cut through with the same settings I used for 90-degree. I had to run the 45 twice. I'll slow it down next. Yeah, and that might be just difference in material. And I found when I'm cutting out boxes or these multi-layer pieces, I'll slow it down quite a bit from what I normally do, just so I get a really super clean cut with all drops and no problems. Chicago Bob said never considered engraving on a 45. Yeah, it's and Bob, I tell you, a lot of people seem overly focused, in my opinion, about the spot size of lasers, because I've worked with a 5.5 watt all the way up to a 60 watt, and honestly, I can hardly tell any difference. But if I take these off, I can't read the screen no way. So my eyesight is not that great to begin with. But yeah, but if you're really looking for that uniform, perfect, smallest spot size, and you really need to look at your manufacturer's laser specifications, see what they say that spot size is supposed to be. Whether it's actually that or not, don't know. But then look at it and compare it. Do you have any benefit from doing that 45? Most likely you will. The only time it's going to be an issue is when that is not effective is when you're cutting out in 100 different directions, and then that goes right out the window. All right. Question from Richard: was that made with the 30 watt using the 10 watt setting? If you're speaking of the Easter cross, yes, that was the 30 watt. With anytime I'm cutting and I'm not in, well, anytime I'm cutting with 30 watt. But anytime I'm engraving, like the crown of thorns and engraving He Is Risen, and that I actually did with the 10 watt. I engraved with a 10 watt and did a line after fill. I actually did a crosshatch line after fill, and then I switched it over to do to the 30 watt to cut everything out. So I'll flip back and forth if I'm cutting and or engraving. Hey, looky there. We got a celebrity in the house. Hello, Steve. Yes, you do have a lot of ponds up there. You got a lot of water, that's for sure. I did not make it across to Minnesota, but I drove and explored all around your neighboring state there, Wisconsin, and all the way up into UP. Hey, man, his water everywhere. Okay. All right. I'm going to jump over here and we're going to bring this file in as you will get it from Lightburn, so you can see, or from Hobo with Wood, so you can see the design, and then we'll show you some quick tips on how I created it, how I set up, certain features in it, and the shortcuts or the tricks that I've got for making my text alignable. So let's jump over here to Lightburn. We are going to get rid of all of this. And we can get rid of this and make sure we all clean. All right, file, import. Let's see. Actually, you know what? We'll do import. And we'll do it from the same file you're going to get it from. Open. All right, so the file will come to you looking like this. It's all on cut layer because that's all there is. You're going to cut this up and paint it and finish it any way you like. And I will talk to you about how I finished mine after I show you these quick little tips and tricks. But this is your 4-leaf clover. This is your 3-leaf clover. Come on. And then the word lucky is going to fit over either one of those as a top layer. And then I've got this right here. It says have a, and it's got part of a heart on it. Well, you put that on your material and cut it out just like you see it, and it will create the letters you need. And then this piece right here, the outer piece, that piece, I want to duplicate it, Control D. And you know what? And I've got to create one of those for the 4-leaf clover. So I didn't even think about that. So that'll be a good time to show you how I did it. But that piece is simply an alignment tool that I will sit on top of my finished piece, and then I'll have that is cut out of there. That's just to allow me to position them and drop them in place, glue them into position. Same thing with day. It's going to come down here and fit right there as an alignment tool, and that'll create all the spacing and keep everything uniform and lined up. And that's an easy, simple trick to do when you're working with individual letters. Now, how did I do that? Well, we need to do it for this piece. So kind of getting a little bit out of order here, but hey, that's how Hobo does stuff. He does stuff all out of whack. Let's bring a copy of this over here, and I'm going to create a copy of Lucky. Control D, duplicate it. I'm going to bring it down here, put it on a toolpath, put it in the right orientation. Now, people are like, how are you going to get that lined up? Man, this is so cool. If you haven't seen this tool in Lightburn, you're going to watch this. Pay attention. I'm going to get that lined up about where I need it, right about there. And then I'm going to hit Control and the number 2. Control 2. And I'm going to put a start point right there. Then I'm going to come up here to this point, and I'm going to grab that. And then I'm going to rotate it to where I want it and bow. That's exactly lined up, exactly where it needs to be. Control 2. And if you're not familiar with that shortcut, or you don't remember it, if you go up here to Arrange, it's the 2-point rotate and scale, or Control 2. Anytime you need to align a piece in 2 different points, what that does is it will allow you to set the first point. You put one in place where you need it to be, and then you set that first point as its anchor. And then you come up to the second point and grab it and just rotate it, and it'll spin right around where you need it to be. All right, now we need have a, and this one, I'm going to grab that, duplicate it, bring it over here, ungroup it all. It is ungrouped. All right, so now I can get rid of that. What happened to my E? I didn't get the E. Shame on me. We'll try that again. I didn't get it all because it wasn't all grouped. Well, in fact, we'll just grab all this because I'm going to need it all. Control D, duplicate it, bring it over here. And all I want is my font right now. So I'm going to ungroup that, and I'll get rid of both of these. Now I'm going to bring have a down here. And since this is the 4-leaf, it'll be a little bit different orientation than the 3-leaf. I actually probably like this a little bit better than the 3-leaf. But do I want to have those like that? All right. Now what I'll do is select all of that right there. That gives me the 4-leaf clover and the word day. And I'm going to duplicate it once again, bring it over here. And I didn't want to get lucky, but I got it anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm going to delete it. Delete you, go away. And now I will, and if you do this before you glue the word lucky on there, it's a whole lot easier. But if I come down here and get me a line, start right here at this corner and draw a line over here to that point. Ungroup all this. And you can use cut tools and all kinds of other things to try and do this, but I'm not going to use cut tools. I'm going to go into node editing, and I'm going to go in here to this node, and I'm going to select it and hit the letter B for break. Then I'll come up here to this node and hit the letter B for break. Now deselect it and select just that piece and hit the delete button. Go back to that toolpath, put it on my red cut layer. Go back into node editing and then connect that node to there. And I believe that probably got it all the way around. Yep, looks like that's all connected. Now I can select those. Group that. And that will serve as my alignment tool. And if you wanted to, if you didn't want to have a lot of waste, since you've got 2 points right here and right here, you could actually even do this possibly, because that's a lot of waste. And here is another opportunity to use that Control D, I think, maybe. We'll see, or Control 2 rather, Control 2. I'm going to anchor it to this point right here, and then grab this, bring it, yep, to there. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I thought I was in undo. Or you know what? Even better than that. Those 2 points are there. Draw a circle. Come right here and draw a circle around that. We'll get it right there and go into node editing, nodes, and convert to a path. There we go. And now I'm going to, because this is the file I'm going to share with you guys. So this is a whole lot less waste, and it'll still work, because now you've got this to line up, and we're going to put this right up on there to that corner. Control 2. That's an anchor point, and then we're going to move this one to there. Go back into node editing, and this is something I did not even think about. I knew I needed to create that 4-leaf clover because someone had requested it, but I forgot about having to have the alignment tools for the individual letters. So this was not something that I scripted. This is not a squirrel moment, but it's something that I forgot to do. So break and select this one, and we're going to insert and break and insert and break. And get rid of that and get rid of that. And now just connect those. All right. And now I will group those back together. And so there's one alignment for day. Oops. For the 4-leaf clover. That'll help you line up your word there. And now I got to do have a. Have a is not grouped. We're going to group that up real fast and group that. And that's actually, I don't need to copy it because this is all trash now. I'll say bye-bye. And we'll just do a simple line tool. In fact, let's do this. We're going to ungroup all that, put it in node editing, and I'm going to want to keep, which corner do I want to keep? I want to keep this corner right here. So I'm going to come right here and hit B for break. And over here, let's keep this corner. So hit B for break, deselect all of it so I can select just the piece that I want, which is this outer piece here, and hit the delete button to delete all that. And now I can just go into pencil and just come right here and draw a line. And then we'll connect both of those. I'm on node editing. Oh, that connected. All right. We won't talk about what that looks like. but that's an alignment tool. At least that's how I would do it. Now, you don't have to do that, of course. But if you are really persnickety about wanting to have proper placement and have all that lined up, you can park that right there and use that to glue up your letters in perfect alignment with everything. So I'm going to move that to there. So that's how I created those out of the 3-leaf clover. Now, the other night we did a quick clover creation. Now, I did one mistake, though. I did not follow my own advice. I make my clovers with a heart. I've got a single heart, just a plain ordinary heart that's in my art library. I'm going to flatten it just a wee bit, and I'm going to draw a circle. But no, the mistake that I made the other night is anytime you're going to be designing something that is going to be small, like this piece here, you should design it that size. Then you can always scale it up. But when you design it really big and it looks good, and then you scale it down, then you run into problems like what you will experience on that last Feeling Lucky. Those clovers, if those who are with me now watch the last one, the clovers I cut out on Feeling Lucky, the stems on it got so small they were breaking off. So here you're going to want to know about what your overall size is going to be, and it's around 30 millimeters. So if the whole thing's only 30 millimeters, then that needs to be a lot smaller whenever I'm designing. So let's start here and put that circle in the middle. And now I will select my heart first, select the circle, then do the circle array. And I'm going to do 3 copies and say, okay. And you can see they're overlapped each other. And they're grouped because I had that turned on in my array tool. Ungroup it so you can grab just 2 of them and weld it together. Grab another 2. That's 1 object plus the other one now is 2 objects. And now I'll go ahead and weld my circle in there too. And now to draw a stem, I come in with a line. And I just draw a straight line. Then I go to my node editing for that line. And I'll curve it around where I want it to be. About like that. And then I'm going to do an offset, an outward offset, and make it about 0.8 millimeters because we're going to make this is at size. And say okay and delete the original. And then what I look for to try and make this uniform, I look, and this is just my ADD. This is higher up than this one, so it's not quite centered in there. So I will grab my alignment tool and I will move that left and right until they're about centered up about there. Then hold my shift button, select my clover and weld it together. And now that's centered up in there and I've got a clover. And that's a small clover. And this piece is my round is about 12 inches. So, and I want a good little buffer around it. So I'm going to draw out a 10-inch circle. And I didn't have my aspect ratio locked. So let's do it again. 10-inch. There we go. And then do 10 millimeter offset inward. And I don't have it in metric. Go back to metric. I wish they had the ability right here to go inches or metric, so you don't have to go back and forth in and out of it. Be good if I just worked all in metric though, right? But do a 10 millimeter offset. And I don't want to delete the original. Say okay. So now this, boys and girls, is one of those times where I say there's always more than one way to do something in Lightburn, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to accomplish the exact same thing. And sometimes you may be doing it and you're going like, that's not quite the result I want. And then I'm going to show you how and which one of those is a better option, or what I just said a minute ago, the right option to get the right result without having to guess about, well, the Boolean assistant's always your friend. You can look and see which one you want. But this is help. Maybe you don't even have to go to Boolean assistant. You know which one you're going to use. So I want to add these clover to this ring. And I've got various sizes of these clovers as I wrap around there. And I didn't want to draw a circle. Go away. Delete. Another thing, whenever I'm designing this, this is going to be the centerpiece. So I'm going to say Control D, duplicate that, put it on a toolpath, and send it to the center of the. So now I know about how much room I've got to make these and position these clovers where they need to be, orientation, size. So I can make that one fairly big, and we're going to rotate it just a little bit. And I need to get it up here. I want it attached like so. Say Control D, duplicate it again, and rotate it. Bring that one over here. We'll rotate her some more. Might make this one a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller. And this is just what looks good to you. And as long as you keep this only overlapping this line and not overlapping both lines, then you won't have too much of a headache. But because when you overlap them, you can get some undesired results. Overlap both of them, I should say. Let's spin this around and make it. And what the heck? One more. And spin it around. And on this particular layout, the way I'm doing it right now, I didn't leave room to do the personalization, which I'll show you that in a second with the other one. But right now, I'm just going to show you these techniques about which one do you want. All right. So right now, this is an individual circle. This is an individual circle. And I'm going to put this in a fill mode for right now. Let's see. And we'll move it to the back so we can see our other layer. All right. So I put that in a fill mode so you can understand that is one solid object right now. But if I put this on the same layer, it's a different outcome. This is a solid object. This is a solid ring, and this is not a solid circle. So and that matters because it depends on how it's grouped or not grouped on which tool you'll use. So I'm going to put that green layer back in align mode. All right. So now that it's still one solid circle, and I want to have these clovers in here. So in order to do that, you can actually select every single clover, individual, just a clover, 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 and clover. And right now, if you look down here in the bottom, it says there are 4 objects. But if you group it, now it says that's 1 object. That's 1 group of 4. And when you're using your Boolean tools, you can only use Boolean tools with 2 objects. So this circle is an object, and these clovers are an object. So if I hold my shift button and select them, now you see that's 2 objects. So now I can use my Boolean tools. But which Boolean tool? Well, if this is a solid circle, and I don't want that to be a solid circle, I want to have these clovers in there, then I need to subtract the area that these clovers are in order to leave them there. I need to subtract that area from the circle. So on your Boolean tools over here, right now they're grayed out because they're not an option. But the third one down is the A subtract B. And A is your first object you select. So there's A. And you hold your shift button and you select B. Now this is highlighted and you say A subtract B. And now those are now part of that circle. Now that's just one way you can do this. I'll undo that grouping. We'll put this line back on a cut layer. We'll grab both of those and group those. So now that is 1 object. The clovers are 1 object. And if I say A and B and hit weld, that does the same thing. So don't let anybody tell you there ain't but one way to do something, because you can get there 100 different ways. It's just and it's how does your mind work? Were you able to see that and picture it as a whole disc, or did you only, or were you seeing just that ring, instead of the inner disc? Because the inner disc isn't there in the final piece. But as long as that inner circle wasn't grouped with the outer circle, then all you had was just 1 solid circle there. So until you grouped them, did you follow me? I hope I didn't lose too many people there. So let's see here. What else? Now we're going to look at the putting in the name. And the putting in the name is a lot like what we just showed you about putting in it's actually the exact same as putting in the clovers. But there's some things to take into consideration when you do the name. The name needs to overlap and come onto there, and same thing here. But in this particular font I used, which I think was Magneto, that F is not attached to Fortner's. It's a standalone letter, which is okay because that one was 1 single letter. That was easy enough to put on there. But what I did, if you look, there are 2 layers of the Fortner's. I've got the original script, which is the white layer cut out all by itself. And then there's another layer underneath it. And you can see there, it's a green layer because I intentionally set it off to the side. See how the R and the S you can see the green? So, and that's all the way across all the letters. And I did that just for the effect of being able to see that and create a shadow behind the letters. And I just like the look of it. And I just simply did that by just gluing it up a millimeter off center. But that green has got to be welded to the circle. And we're going to do both of those right now. All right. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. And let's see, we're at right at 50 minutes. So we're doing good on time. I'm going to say Control D, duplicate that one and send it to the center. And now I'm going to grab, it doesn't matter either one of these, duplicate it and send it to the center as well. So now I can see where I've got room to put the name in here. And you're going to need to look for a font. In fact, let's see here. I like brush script. I like it a lot. That one already is already going to be overlapped and linked together. Those will disappear when I unclick it. But if you see how there, it's all welded. Brush script is a good one, but the T and the F are not connected. Let's look at the new one I just did for the Easter piece. Let's see what that one looks like. No. I'll go back to the Magneto. And you see there, that's not attached either, but we're going to fix that. That one's not attached. We're going to fix that by changing the horizontal space up here. We're going to give it a little negative horizontal spacing until now they're overlapped and connected. And we could actually do that. Looks like let's bring it in enough negative spacing until that F connects and see what it looks like. That's starting to get too bunched up. So I think I would do it because everything else is connected except for that one single letter. That looks good. I'd leave it at that. Now I'm going to have to draw it down to where it fits. And now I'll hold my shift button and make sure she's in the center. And there she is. The T is overlapped. The S is overlapped. And I like the positioning of that. So are these grouped? Yes, that's grouped and that's grouped. And if now here, this is potentially going to give us an undesired outcome because the F is not attached. So let's see if selecting both of those as a group, holding my shift button and selecting this and tell it to weld. No, it worked. I didn't know if the F was going to disappear or not. It did not disappear because it was a font. If it was a path, I'm going to undo. I'm going to convert this font to a path by right-clicking and convert to a path. And now that that's a path, it's not grouped any longer. It doesn't have that O. It doesn't, so yeah, see, all those are individual pieces. So you're better off doing your text, welding your text as a text. But I want to see what happens when I do it this way. Group that together. That's now one object. So I'm going to grab my ring first, grab this, and now weld it. I still didn't get enough. I was afraid something I might do would make that F disappear. But now that that's welded in there, I realized, hey, stupid, you made a mistake. Control D, duplicate that, create you a duplicate, and then weld that in place. And somebody might be yelling at me in the comments about I didn't do that. So now don't group it, weld it. So now that's personalized. Those can be cut out and painted and put on top of there, and you got a personalized Lucky Day piece. So I'm going to undo the personalization aspect of it. Oh, okay, well, that works. I don't need that. That's the 4-leaf, that's the 4-leaf, that's the 3-leaf, 3-leaf, and that's all the clovers. And then, okay, now file, save. And I actually did all of this in advance, but I did not have the alignment pieces in there for the 4-leaf. So now I'm having to do it all over again in the middle of the live, which I was trying to prevent. Save. Yes. Export. That DXF. Save. Yes. Replace it. Export. The AI. Save. Yes. Replace it. Now go to my And I got to do this in order to be able to give you the files, guys. So I apologize. I'm making you have to suffer through this part. Lucky day. Compress it. And don't want to do lucky day 2. Let's see if I can ask me to rename it. Yes. No, I don't want to do that. Delete you. Delete you. And compress it. All right, now let me upload it to the site, and we will make this live for you guys to download. There we go, and go to and I really hate this because I had it all set up, all of it's all done here, had it ready to go live, only to realize I didn't have it correct. All right, delete permanently. Yes, delete. Goodbye. On now add more. Select. More lucky day. Open. All right, that's in there. Now go to products. Edit. Click here to download and choose the file. Lucky day zip. Insert in the file. Save. Just double check it. All right, that looks good. And is it in digital? Yes, done. Publish. All right, now, $1 million question. If we go to the website, hobowithwood.com, right there it is in new products. It is on the homepage right there for free for you to download. If your homepage does not show that on the top right there, let me show you where to go look for it. Because some people are like, it's not showing up for me. Well, it's there. It's something to do in your settings. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom and come down to the bottom search bar, and you just type in lucky, not lickety liggy, lucky, and search. There's lucky day and feeling lucky. So there's, and then you can click on it and download it. But if you can't see it on your homepage, it will be in the search bar. Okie dokie. So we are 58 minutes in, where it's an hour. I went through that really fast. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll up here. I love it. Yeah. Chris says it's never sunny in the UK. Yeah. There's some places I just couldn't live. And I think the UK and Seattle, and that kind of like all on the same parallel. So it's got very similar weather patterns, and neither one of them are very attractive to me. And my phone's going crazy. I know you guys are already downloading. So I'm glad you think the file is fun enough to download. I'm going to look for any quick questions, and then I'm going to share with you how I did this finish, how I created that. And I did all of this with spray cans. Every bit of this was done with spray cans. Let's see here. Looking for question marks. Here's a question from Rick. Heard different opinions, but do you shut your machine off? I do not. Between modes, I have not seen anything from Rolly that said you need to do that. So I haven't been. I may get informed later that that's not correct, but I've not seen anything that said that it is required, and I have not been doing it. Looking for questions. And I love all these numbers, guys. And if you're new to watching this and you don't know what all this is about, this is when people say, like Carl said, hey, I just learned 2 new things. And, Soak and Ray said, I just learned something. So if you're new to the channel and you've seen all these numbers, like, what's that about? That's just keeping the chat going. Let's YouTube know that you guys are here, you're paying attention, and it also lets me know that, hey, it was worthwhile to do what we did. People are learning stuff. And then the reason we want to see question marks like Peter's done here, when I'm scrolling through here, I see those question marks and I know it's a question, and I go try to go right to those. So number 2 on the top of the keyboard, or the number 2 in the control pad on the right. I don't think it matters. I do, but just because I can do it with one hand, I do control and 2 on the keyboard. But I don't think it would matter which 2 you used. I've never tried the other way, but I just do one hand, control 2. But I would think either one would work. I would think. But you know what happens when you assume? All right, looking for question marks. Now I love this question mark. It's not in the front, but Beauty says 2. Maybe 2. 2. Yeah, not a question, but Hobo friends know for a fact that there's always another way. There's always another way. Craig's got a question. If I create an image in Lightburn, can I export it as another format from Lightburn, JPG or SVG? Yeah. You just seen me do. So when I saved that file, I saved it as a Lightburn file, then went down to File, Export, and then exported the file. That was the whole design file. That exported all that out as an SVG, an AI, and a DXF. And he says, I've tried drag and copy and paste, but no dice. But now, if you're wanting to save the whole file and share it with individuals, like someone said they were using a lot of my files for scroll saws. Now, I don't know which pattern they're using, if it's the DXF or the AI or what, but someone said, hey, they're getting the files and then printing them out in a format so they can use it on a scroll saw. Hey, that's cool. But if you're wanting to print out something to show somebody, let me show you how to do that. We'll go over here and we get Lightburn pulled back up. Go over here. And just real quick, Craig, you can file and then export. And here are your different file formats that you can export it: AI, DXF, or SVG. But if you wanted to export a JPEG so that you could show somebody the design you were going to create. So we put this in the center, put this in the center. And you said, you know what? I want to show them what this is looking like. If you select all of your file, then go to preview, the preview is going to show you all that. And if you don't want, make sure, if you want to see just your cut settings, come down here and this is your traversal moves. Here, since this is just cuts, there are no traversal moves. But if you've got a whole bunch of red lines showing up all over your screen, if you're doing engraving, you can turn off your traversal moves and it'll be just a end result like this. Then if you want to save this image so that you can share it with somebody, click right here, save image. And then it'll ask you how you want to save it. You want to save it as a PNG or a JPEG. You can name it either one, save it to your desktop or wherever you want to save it. Then you can share that image of what the outcome is going to look like with anybody that doesn't have Lightburn. You can share it with them as JPEG or PNG. So hopefully that helps you out, Craig. Where did you get the Magneto font? Well, first, Soak and Raise. If you import this file as is right now, actually, there is no font in there. That's right. Anytime there's a font in there, you guys, we talked about it last live stream, it's going to bring that font in, convert it to a path. It'll no longer be a font. You can't edit it, but if you ever import a file that has a font in it that you don't have, Lightburn converts it to a path, keeps the design intact. But where did I get that? I think it might have actually even been in my Windows, but we'll switch back over here and go over to here and go to, this has become my favorite website, Dafont, Dafont, Dafont.com. It is free. There's an option up here to log in. I don't know why, because I've never logged in, but I come over here and you start searching Magneto and enter. Up, Magneto doesn't come up. They don't have Magneto, and unless I spelled it wrong. Let's look. Nope, I spelled it right. I think that Magneto font was in my Windows. I don't recall ever going and getting that one. But if you want to find some script, and actually, you know what? Go back to their homepage, Dafont.com. Right here is all these options. You can look at fancy cartoons, but right over somewhere I seen right here, script. Here's all these different types of script, brush script. So these are all scripts that are connected already, and these are most of them. These here are free to download, free for personal use, free for personal use demos, 2 fonts. Download it, install it, and have at it. But I like Dafont. Where did I get Magneto? I think it was in the computer. Here's a cue. Can you please share how you center an object in another? Beauty, that's so hard that might take 3 days worth of videos just to do. It's actually very, very simple. Switch over here. We'll draw out that circle and draw out that little circle, and then we'll draw out that circle. And you can actually select all 3 of those. And this icon right up here, it's a bullseye that centers everything up. And if I wanted to center it in the center of the work table, that's these crosshairs over here. This will send it to the center of the work bed. And if these were all in different places, and this might be something you was talking about, you seen me do a minute ago, I can select every one of those, and this crosshair over here will center them and send it to the, well, that sent it to the center of the work bed. I thought it would center them up. It does not. Now you got to center them and now send it to the center of the work bed. There you go. But those are centering techniques. Hope that helps a little bit. Oh, sorry. I know you didn't respond to that quick, because that was right after the question. I don't know what the story was. Question from Jesse. Should I expect my original Lasermatic 10 watt to cut 1/4 inch without problems? Depends on wood. Depends on your material more than anything. Will the 10 watt laser cut 1/4 inch? Yeah. If it's full of fillers and junk wood, you'll struggle, you'll fight, you'll kick, you'll scream. It's going to depend on your material and how long. It's going to take a little while. My first 10 watt, and not just the Rolly, but any 10 watt, I think I was learning at that time in millimeters per second instead of millimeters per minute. And that one was taking 100% power at 3 millimeters a second to 5 millimeters a second, and 3 passes to cut through 4.5 millimeter wood. And sometimes it still wouldn't do it, because I was working a lot with Lowe's plywood, and some of it would be just filler on top of filler on top of filler, and it ain't cutting through that. But yes, it can. But that's when people ask me, hey, the 20 watt or the 30 watt? Well, what are you going to be working with? Are you going to be working with 1/4 inch material, 3-4 millimeter, or anything over 4.5 millimeter material? Then I would want the 30 watt, because that 30 watt is going to cut faster, and I don't want to be sitting here twiddling my thumbs waiting on the laser to get cut through a piece of wood. Peggy, you need to go on. You can't be here if you're late. You're in timeout. You have to watch the rerun. You got to be on time. And there's my buddy Stacy. She's probably already gone. Hey, bye. Hope you're dry. Because I think she's down in a part of California that's getting a lot of rain. Just talking about a single image. I hope that answered your question there. How do I mark the material on Lightburn like you do on CCS? I don't know CCS. Is that XCS? Is that what you meant? How do I mark the material on Lightburn? And I don't know XCS. I'm guessing that's what you meant since the C and the X are side by side. Xtool is what I started, the first machine I had, but I started with Lightburn. XCS did not exist when I started. It just came on the scene fairly recently, and I am not an XCS guy. If you are not subscribed to the Clack Shack, Tim, you need to be subscribing and watching Clack, because he does a lot with Xtool, and I know he uses XCS and Lightburn. And questions like this, in fact, his live stream's tomorrow night. I think it's tomorrow at 8, I think. But subscribe to Clack Shack. It's Clack Shack and Steve Ventari. Steve's in here or wasn't here. They're combined. I don't know how much Steve does though with XCS. I don't know if he uses it much or at all. But their live stream tomorrow night, you can definitely get any answers you need to regarding XCS there. And I apologize, I don't have that answer for you. And Craig says, yes, perfect. Thank you. Good. We got there. Yeah. And Jack says, I just take a screenshot. I'm lazy. Yeah, you can always screenshot it. That's another option. Let's see. Looking for question marks. We're a minute 15 in, so we got about 15 minutes left to go to meet that. And what I see there, Gail said Magneto is in my Windows fonts also, or too. So you can look in the Microsoft fonts online. So yeah, if that was in the Windows fonts, Microsoft fonts might have it available. I'm catching this live and I'm late too. Where's the timeout corner? We don't actually have one, but maybe we have to come up with one. I don't know. But you'll be able to catch the replay, and I thank you for being here. And Pat's pot page. And that looks like the images are cooking pots. So that could have, kind of like Hobo with Wood, could have different meanings. Pat's pot page could also have different meanings. I'm glad you're here and glad you learned a few things today. So, guys, I really do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. And I just want to recap for the people who are late this week on Hobo, not this week because today's Saturday. Next week, I'm already working on my Easter designs. I've got my first one done, and this is a 3-layer cross, and it can be cut from, and I wanted to show you this, and I wanted to talk to you about the finish on this, so we got a few more minutes. This cross, I was specifically asked for a piece that could be cut without any waste or with minimal waste and not having to use multi pieces of wood, like my 6-layer cross. Here it is. In fact, you're going to see some of this in a second. That generates a lot of potential waste, but you figure that in the cost of the design when you're making it, but it's not really waste, and you'll see why in a second. But this created a lot of waste. And he's like, I want something I can make and not have a lot of waste. You need to make a large volume of them. So this is one single piece of 300 by 300, and that's what created this. All of this cross came out of here, and I cut out everything except for the pink cross. I did all my engraving and all my cutting of all the smaller pieces, and then I took my wood off the bed and went and painted it pink and cut out my pink cross and glued everything up. But a single piece of 300 by 300 will create that, and that's going to be in next week's Hobo with Wood designs and files available on the website. And I'm going to do a commercial Easter piece too, little bunny ears and feet and maybe an egg holder or something. But for those who did not see it in the beginning, is it June 15th? Is it? Pretty sure I found my notes again. Notepad. Saturday before Father's Day. Yeah, June 15th. June the 15th at 3 p.m. I'll be live again in this time slot, and I will be giving away a laser. There are no conditions. There are no requirements. There are no minimum viewers or minimum likes or shares. During that live stream, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, June 15th, a viewer is going to get a free Rolly Lasermatic. I can't say it's going to be the MK2, the 20 watt or the 30 watt or any of that yet because I don't know. Leo's already committed to doing something with me, and we're going to do a Rolly, and it's going to be June 15th. Don't know which one, but it doesn't matter because all of them are awesome. All of them are great, and it's not going to be limited to the lower 48 US. And that's why it's perfect that it's going to be in this time zone or this time slot, because all of my UK viewers, all of the people in those time zones, you're all eligible to win. All you got to do is be there, and we're going to give away a laser. So I'm really excited about that. And I'll ask one more time. I made this commitment to you in 1 or 2 streams ago. You notice I haven't asked you guys about, I'm not soliciting any monies anymore. I'm going to be depending on the sales of my files and my patrons to support me and this channel. So no more, supporting, donating but what I will do is ask you every single time, please like, subscribe, and share this channel. If you found this to be informative and entertaining, or at least I'm funny to look at, like, share, subscribe. Over half of my viewers watching are not subscribed. And when I say half the viewers watching, half of the returning viewers, because analytics breaks it all down. Half of the returning viewers are not subscribed. It will help me out with the analytics if you hit that subscribe button. It does not cost you anything. I'm not asking you to subscribe and do a monthly fee of any kind. It's just one of those things like those 1, 2, 3, 4 in the comments. It's just one of those things that helps with the analytics. Now, I was telling you about not creating waste. Whenever I did this file, I only needed also one piece of 12 by 12 wood, and that was to create this outer piece and the center clover. All of the rest of it, all the little clovers and the word lucky, all that, I had this piece laying in my skeleton pile, and it's from cutting out my 6-layer cross. And this would have been waste, but don't throw it away. Kept it all, put a little paint on it, sent it out, cut out that layer, and then that would have been waste. But there's where I got my dark green clovers. And so don't trash anything. And then the finish on this was all done with spray cans. Spray cans and a little 3/4 inch brush. I sprayed. This is pre-made. This was those, what was it? The Mondo Yama boards from Target. $5 for this backboard pre-cut, has a keyhole in it, and it comes with a hanger on it too. $5 at Target. You can't really beat those. But I took and I have 3 different colors of green on here on this board. It's a lime green. This Lucky is not white. That's actually a lime green. Only thing on here white is the name. But I painted a lime green, the middle green, and the dark green. All those are on here. And then once I had all the colors on there, and I put one right on top of the other, one right after the other. And while it was still wet, just took the 1-inch brush and just started dragging it and creating the lines that I wanted. And it created a really neat effect. I liked it. And one that I didn't do and I should have done, and I'll do it on my next one, is do this, wait till it dries, and then distress it. Take the sander to it and distress it. So that'll give it even more character. And then around the perimeter, just drug my brush around the edge. So that's how I got that. So let's go back here to comments. Okay. Yeah, Pat says, yeah, ceramic pot, not herbal pot. Just got here also. Can we start all over? You know what? I don't know, Kevin, if you were aware, but we did a 5-hour live the other night. Not planned, wasn't intentional. It went 5 hours, and there was 100 and 120 people watching at all. Probably dropping in. A few of them had to go eat, come back, and people dropping in. But we maintained 120 some odd people for 5 hours. We ain't going to do that again. You can always watch the replay. All right. What material size is the John 316 did you use? All right. So if you have bought any of my layered crosses, and all of mine are gone. Let's pull it up in Lightburn. Let's turn off Tim and go over to Lightburn and go to new file, new window. I didn't want to do new window, stupid. Come on, stupid. Wanted to do new project. Don't want to save anything? No. Now let's go open recent project, see if it's in here. Yep, here we go, 316. So if whether this is the one you're looking for or not, if you've got any of the crosses and you want to know what material thickness something was designed in, be it my file or anybody else's, then this slot size right here is going to tell you, let me ungroup it. If you pick that right there, that slot size would be the combination, because this one stacks on top of this one. So this piece and this piece added together would be a width of 5 millimeters. So this was done when I cut it. I was using 2.5 to 3 millimeter wood. So this on top of this come in at just around 5, and that's how big those slots are. But if you ever need to know how big a file was designed, if you look and measure your slots or your tabs, that's going to give you an indication of what size the material was used whenever it was done. Now, it's irrelevant, because if you've got, if you want to do this out of 4 millimeter wood or 4.5 millimeter from Lowe's, and end up having a 9 millimeter cross, 9 millimeter width, then you could do that. You just have to simply use your resize slots and selection tool to resize all of these slots to meet the requirements of your material thickness. So what I used is kind of irrelevant, because you need to make these slots fit your material. So what I used doesn't matter. What size do you have? The width of these slots is not going to change. These are going to stay the same, but you may need to change the height of it. You could do that if you wanted to, but these are what you got to worry about resizing. And if your material thickness is 4 millimeters thick and you got 2 layers, it's 8 millimeters, and you're going to select each of these, make sure you got your anchor point in the center, and going to resize slots and selection and your slot width. This one was old material was thickness of 5 millimeters. And if you look, you can see these arrows showing it's coming in because it's at 3, but we need to go to 8 millimeters. So 8, now it's going to go wider and say okay, or apply, either one, but here we're going to say okay. Now that's going to be set to your 8 millimeter thickness of your 2 pieces of 4 millimeter wood. So realistically, my material thickness doesn't matter because you're going to resize this to fit your material thickness. And if you're not familiar with that resize slots and selection tool, go over on my YouTube channel and search videos for resize slots and selection. And I've got a bunch of videos out there. And it's really a great tool, and they've really improved it over the last few months. So hopefully, Tim, that answers your question about the material thickness. Is the rolling only? No. If you're talking about the rolling I'm going to be giving away, no. It's my giveaway is open to all viewers. Now, if there's that, I think Clack has been looking for that one mysterious viewer in Antarctica. And if I've got that one viewer in Antarctica who wins, then that might be a problem. And because I don't think we're shipping to Antarctica. And I know we're not shipping to Antarctica. But as of right now, my giveaway is open to all my viewers. And and beauty, that ship sailed because people that consider myself friends, they're probably already crazy. They ain't about to go. They're probably crazy. Yep, Jack, free rolly laser. That's, and I don't have any targets. I don't have any requirements. There's no, like I said, I want to be at 10,000 subscribers before my anniversary. It's not a requirement. If I don't have 10,000 subscribers by the end, I'm not going to not give the laser away. But if you guys that are already watching the channel would just hit the subscribe button, it's going to go there. It's going to be, and it's already the natural pace of things is it's on track to do it. But just take the initiative, hit that stupid button. It ain't going to cost you anything. It's going to help me out. And wow, okay, didn't ask for this. Don't like it? Well, LOL. If you don't like it, tough. Well, I do like it, but not at all necessary. Craig says the 5-hour was a blast. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, 5-hour was amazing. It was an amazing marathon. That was nuts. Ain't looking for any questions. We're at 128. There's a question mark. Let's see. I may have zoned out for a second on the have a lucky day sign. How did you get the white marks? I didn't tell you. But let's see here. Switch. And go back up here to my page, hobowithwood.com. Go to shop supplies and scroll down. These are all the things I use in my shop. And these are links to Amazon for the Baltic birch, the basswood, the dice, the clocks, anything that I've used on a regular basis is in here. But this right here, these paint pens, these are some awesome paint pens. And if we click on it, it's going to take us over here to Amazon. And it's how many? 24 colors. And these are really precision, fine point pens, extra fine points, what it says there. And they are so easy to use. And what are they right now? They're selling for $12.95 for 24 pins. And here is my package. I've had these for 6 months, 8 months, and nowhere near used them up. But uh, my white paint pen, the solid green little clover. Oh, give it a shake, shake, shake. Give it a shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. And the way these work, they're a plunger tip. So I grab a piece of wood here, and whenever I start drawing, you don't really see a whole lot because it's white and there's not much going on, because in order to get the paint to come out, you got to give it a little, you got to depress it a little bit. Press it and get that paint flowing. And the longer you depress it, the more paint's going to flow out, and you can actually start to get, some paint show up. But then on the clover, the white part of the clover actually mirrors the outline perimeter, but about a third of the way up from the center. And I just solid green, just simple, draw that on there. Takes all of about 2 seconds if you don't throw it in the floor. And you got your little clover. Put your finish on there and it's good to go. All right, there's my timer saying it's been 90 minutes. Dismiss. Go away. Looking for any question marks. Oh, well, thank you, Moses. I appreciate you. Again, I'm not soliciting any of those. All of them are greatly appreciated. Yeah, was that a laugh? Yeah. Every once in a while, you'll get a snort. And Carl says, yeah, the pins are great. You're in timeout, Nancy. Yeah. No, we're not doing, no, Brad, we're not doing marathon. In fact, that's the bottom of the comments. Anybody that did contribute, thank you. I'm not asking for any of those anymore. Hobowithwood.com, and it has the file already up there. And I heard all the downloads of a ton of you that have already went and grabbed it. All that's on there. If Nancy, if you didn't make it and you didn't see it and you need any help with how to create and put, personalization names, you can just watch the replay. It's in there. Guys, I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you coming and hanging out. I know you got a lot of things you can do, especially for the folks here in North America. It's a Saturday afternoon. And then some of you say it's sunny. If it's a nice sunny Saturday and you're in here with me, thank you. For everybody else across the pond who are hanging out, I hope this has been appealing to you and you like this time zone this time slot every other week. We're going to continue to try and do that. I see some more questions popping up here. Can you explain how you inverted the engrave on the Celtic MD lettering of your love? I didn't actually invert it. If you mean how that's, if you look close enough, there's actually on the perimeter of each letter, there's a line on there of engraving. So it was engraved and cut out right around the perimeter. And the fact that there was an engraved line around there, that created that as a negative, like I guess you're perceiving it as an inverse, but it's just there's an engraved line on the outer perimeter. So if without that engraved line there, then you would have the complete inverse of that. So without pulling up that font, I'll just show you a quick demo on just a design. switch back over here to, and y'all gonna fool around and have me on another dumb marathon. All right, we're not going to do that though. We're going to delete that. All right, so if we come in here and I've just got a circle, and we're going to put that on an engrave, and we're going to put it on a fill. So if you engrave that, you're going to get a solid dot. And I didn't want to do that. Let's put that back in line mode for a second, and let's put a font in here. Both of those are on the black layer, and we put it in fill mode. That's what you would get. But if you didn't want that, if you wanted the same, you wanted to get the effect like I have on the Celtic knots, all you have to do is come out here to your outermost layer and create an offset. You may not want one that big, and it doesn't have to be. And you know what? It don't even have to be noticeable. So that's a 0 offset. But if you want it, and I think I had about a 1 millimeter offset on that one, or it might have been even a 0.5 millimeter, and say, okay. So that gives you the inverse and gives you that dark engraving in the middle. And then if you wanted to cut it out just like that, right now I have that outermost layer selected. With it selected, I'm going to say Control D. And when I duplicate it, it's going to invert that again, say Control D. And they're like, wait a minute, that ain't what I want. That's okay. It's still selected. I'm going to put it on a cut path. So now I have a cut path out here and that engrave, so that it gives me this little bit of a perimeter and gives me that dark inverse. So that's how those Celtic knots are so visible like that. I hope that is what you were looking for. Okay, thanks. Beauty Bubble says, you're the best hobo. I don't know if I'm the best hobo, but I'm a pretty good hobo. I haven't been embracing that lifestyle as much as I want to here lately. A fantastic creator, teacher, and artist for all of us, truly and truly. I'm hoping that come this year, there's going to be even more changes for Hobo with Wood, because the plan in the very beginning, and hence the name Hobo with Wood, was that this was not going to be coming to you from this 1901 house with the chimney and the exhaust port over here. I was going to be sitting on the back patio of my RV this week in Florida. The next week I'll be in Alabama. The next week I'll be in Arkansas. Hopefully things are going to 2024 I'll be able to see more of that hobo lifestyle, and I'll be coming to you live from various places. I hope. I think that would be cool. I think it'd be really cool to have the RV set up on one of the sites down at the coast. I've got the patio drop down, and instead of looking at all this behind me, you see the ocean waves rolling in and crashing. And then I think that would be cool. Yeah. So I'm really hoping to embrace that hobo again. Sorry, Steve had to pop out. Needed to take my meds to stop seeing the squirrels. I tried to stay focused. I finished within an hour and a half. Hopefully, I didn't have too many squirrels that I was creating. I hope. I really tried to get them under control. Yep, Amazon has triple glaze also. I've got a shortcut for that on that shop supplies. In fact, I went to my local Ace Hardware. They're just opened up a new store within a mile of me, and I like being that close to me, and I like Ace better than I do Home Depot and Lowe's. But Ace doesn't have it, and Ace can't get it. They've contacted Rust-Oleum 3 times and said, hey, we've got a buyer who wants it. I buy it by the case at a time. And they said, well, we got to buy at least 2 cases at a time to get it. And I said, well, I'll buy them both. So you can buy 3 cases and have one on the shelf. But they can't get it. the Rust-Oleum won't sell it to them. So I've been forced to get it from Lowe's when I can, Home Depot when I can, but Amazon almost always has it. And Chris, which I hadn't seen Chris in the feed today. I think Chris Gallagher mentioned that he had seen or was having trouble down in Australia and was afraid that it might be discontinued. But there are, after that comment, I contacted Rust-Oleum to find out, because if they were discontinuing it, I was going to go buy a pallet of it. But it is not discontinued. They have discontinued a part number, and the part number that I use has got that really nice, pretty green label on it. Let's see here. Go this one. And this can is discontinued. They're no longer going to have this can. And even on, there it is. There's the new can on Amazon. So he was correct that the green and white can is gone, but this is the new Rust-Oleum triple thick glaze. Supposed to be the same thing, just a new look. But if you buy it local and you start looking for that green and white can, you can't find it. This is what it's going to be looking like. Let's see. Please keep this time slot. It's really great for us over the pond. Learn a lot. Yeah, Alan, that's the plan. Is every other week I plan on doing this. Every other week I'll be at 9 p.m. For those here in the U.S. Does the Celtic letter need to be grouped or ungrouped for the offset? It's actually already done that way. That's a font that I got from DeFont. Celtic MD. I'm pretty sure is the name of it. And it's already all grouped. It already has all that done. All I had to do was just create, I had to ungroup it all so I could select the outermost offset, duplicate that, and then create a cut layer so I could cut the letter out. But the actual font itself, those are all of the capital letters. The lowercase letters do not have the Celtic knots. But go over to defont.com and look for Celtic MD, and you'll see that, and it's already set up that way. But you'll have to ungroup it to select the outermost offset, duplicate it, put it on the cut layer, then put it all back together. Moses says it's 20 watt to be on the 5th. Yay, Moses. Okay, nope, another question. Do you have any problems gluing and painting up finished parts together? Do you have any problem gluing painted or finished parts? No, and I'll tell you a trick. I'll tell you a secret, but you can't tell anybody else, okay? It's just between me and you, Jesse. What I will do is I will have, in fact, as you've seen, I will pre-paint a lot of my stuff and cut out pre-painted. And then whenever I'm going to glue this up, I'll use a little wood glue, but especially if I'm going to put a finish on it, a lacquer finish, anytime there's multiple layers, you can get some dry overspray when you're trying to put your lacquer on multiple layers, because as you're overlapping here, well, it kind of, this gets shadowed a little bit and that creates a little dry overspray. I will lacquer this entire backboard here, the face of it, put a good coat of lacquer on it. And while it's still wet and tacky, I'll then position this on top of it using the lacquer and or the paint to actually serve as a glue. You know, if you ever try to get two glued pieces apart or two painted pieces apart, you know, the paint or the sealer or the clear coat, the lacquer, the triple thick glaze even, it will serve as good of a glue as wood glue. So to keep from having those oversprayed looks, if it's a multi-layered piece, I will actually use my lacquer or my triple thick and then carefully position it right down in place. And that's how I get a lot of my pieces glued up. All right. But Jesse, don't tell nobody. That's between me and you, okay? 9 p.m. is past this old man's bedtime. And since you said old man, I'm glad that reminded me of something, but I can catch it Sunday afternoon. Uh, Old Man Designs. I don't know if you're on here tonight or today, but Old Man Designs is a member in Hobo with Wood group on Facebook. And he brought it to my attention. He says, "Hey man," he said, "I've been constantly trying to share and comment, and I cannot comment. It keeps saying all my comments are turned off." And I noticed that I was even seeing some problems with comments being turned off in Hobo with Wood group. And I'm like, I'm not turning off the comments. What's it? You cannot comment in the Facebook group from a page. And Old Man Designs has his Facebook page, and he's trying to comment from the page, and it wouldn't let him. Well, I was trying to comment as Hobo with Wood on my own Hobo with Wood group, and it won't let me. So if you'll notice on the Hobo with Wood group, when I comment, it's commented as Steve Fortner. I don't know how to change that, but if you're ever wanting to comment in Hobo with Wood, you got to do it from your personal page. All right. And do you know, Squirrel, do you know if Lightburn has any plans of adding a feature to keep track of burn time? You know what? It's irrelevant too. Burn time is totally irrelevant because I've been, I typically, I will clean mine daily. I'll do a deep clean probably about once a week. But today, just today, an hour before going live, I did those bamboo tests, and these were small tests. These are only 5x5 grids, and there's 5 of them. And these 5 tests created more of a mess and have the laser in such a horrible condition from these 5 tests than anything I've done all week long. So it's not about how long you've been using the laser, it's how you're using the laser. What materials are you using? And for me, when I do, for me to know I'm going to go do a deep dive, pull the module off on my Rolly, take everything apart and clean it, the orange cone underneath, I'm ashamed to show you that cone right now. And that's just from these tests. In fact, I'll open it up. You probably can see it from here. That is black, 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 and clean. That's just from these 5 tests. And that's from bamboo. Bamboo's terrible. And another thing that I think is also bad about creating film and debris, and is for you guys that are doing the white or the Norton white tile method, any kind of coating you put on that will off gas and create all kinds of problems. So it's not about how long you've been using it. It's about what you've been doing with it. So when I get done here, I'm going to pull this all apart and do a deep dive. And that's seriously just from those 5 tests. And I'm actually really kind of excited to see the variation. And I'm going to tell you about these tests, and I'm going to get out of here because I ain't going to be here all night. This was with the Rolly MK2 30 watt / 10 watt. Yeah, 30 watt / 10 watt. This file and this file, those were done with the identical settings as far as the power and speed settings, percentage wise, but this is at 30 watts and this is at 10 watts. But beyond the 30 and 10 watt variation, these two are pre-focused, and I use pre-focus and pre-focus and defocus. Pre-focus is before focus. So here's my focus tool. Focus is right to your focal point for the material you're using. For me, I use pre-focus is it's pre or before focus. So pre-focus is raised. Defocused is a sub or an anti, or the opposite, D, not focused or sub focused. I think I use pre and sub. I don't do much sub focus because that cut layer there is sub focus from this one is below it. So, but yeah, I use pre and sub. Sub is below focus point and pre is above. But these two tests were pre-focused 1 millimeter. They were raised a millimeter above the focal point, and it had a 0.05 line interval. So really, really like 500 lines per inch, really tight line interval. And what I was looking to do was to see, and I don't know how well it'll show up on here. Yeah, you can see it. If you look here, these are the same power and speed settings as this one, but here you're starting to see those horizontal lines. Here you don't see it as much. And that was by changing the lines per inch. Here I went to a 0.01, and you started to see more of those horrible lines that you get in bamboo. And that's what I'm looking for, is to find the most uniform speeds, power settings, focus point, line intervals. It's not just speed and power. There are so many variables that you can do to change the results and get different outcomes. Because I raised the focus, increased the line interval. These are different powers. This is the 10 watt, this is 10 watt, and this is 30 and 30. This one was a screw up. I forgot to change a setting. So these four are the ones that I'm comparing. But, you know, a lot of people say they do that bamboo and it gets uneven burns, poor coloring. And I'm hoping to learn a lot more and then share that as a technical type video during the week. All right, guys, we've pushed it an extra 20 minutes. I'm getting out of here. Again, I know you had a lot of other options today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting the channel. I am Steve. I am Hobo with Wood, and I'm going to get out of here. I just don't know when. So I'll hit the end stream button and wait for it to end, and eventually it'll